Bitcoin peaked right at about 20,000. It goes back down. Gold was going down the entire time. Now gold is back up. What do you see as a smart investment right now for someone looking to invest? Do you think precious metals? Do you think Bitcoin? What do you think?
Well, I'm definitely an advocate of precious metals, and in particular silver. And for anyone who's considering gold, I'm actually leaning more toward platinum right now. Presently, gold is around, what, 1275 an ounce. Platinum is down to 940 an ounce. And traditionally, platinum has sold at a premium above the price of gold. Now it's selling at a discount to gold. So logic dictates that if it's going to return to its historic norms, which I think it will, that the wise place to put your money is platinum, not gold.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
a safe investment, you think, because the way platinum normally goes, it would be a safe investment right now.
Absolutely. But in general, though, I'm more of a proponent of silver than I am either gold or any of the metals in the platinum group. And the reason being, I'm a prepper and I'm geared toward barter in a financial wipeout situation. And there, silver would be much, much, much more practical for barter than gold. Gold is simply too compact a form of wealth for practical barter. I guess you could do it with a cold chisel, but it's not very pretty. It's better to have small silver coins that are much more practical for day-to-day purchases.
Now, shifting to Bitcoin, obviously it saw a huge boom and it's kind of come back down to earth. You know, the only thing that's kind of confusing to me about Bitcoin is how practical really is it right now? And how practical would it be, say, a situation breaks out where you have to go into survival mode?
Well, it wouldn't be practical at all in survival mode, because if you don't have access to the internet, you don't have access to Bitcoin. But there is some utility in Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. And I think that it is wise for people to at least take a small hedged position into the cryptos. And but people just have to do that with both eyes open, not get emotional about it, and be ready to sell or buy at the drop of a hat. Watch the markets closely. It's definitely not a market for someone who is faint of heart, because we're going to see some huge swings in Bitcoin. But I think that in another couple of years, we may see Bitcoin over $50,000.
What about other cryptocurrencies out there? Why is Bitcoin seem to be the one that's taking off the most? Do you have any faith in any other cryptocurrencies?
I think Ethereum is quite good, and Salt, for example. There's a lot of good ones out there. They all use essentially the same Bitcoin blockchain technology, and they all have comparable levels of security. Bitcoin is the most popular simply because it was there first. It doesn't have any real technological superiority to any of the others. And of course, there's no intrinsic value in any of them. So they're all highly speculative, but they do make a good little hedge. And I think the thing to do is to watch the market very carefully, take a small position in either Bitcoin or Ethereum, watch them very carefully, and then watch for news about the other cryptocurrencies. And then on a day when either Bitcoin or Ethereum are quite high, you can shift some of your holdings from Bitcoin to one of the lesser known cryptos immediately following news of a minor panic within that crypto. Say, for example, there's news that the CEO of whatever cryptocurrency corporation has been indicted, or that or the CEO has committed suicide, or that.
And shockingly, that type of news comes down the pipeline about once a month, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So just watch very carefully. And as Bitcoin stair steps upward, be ready to diversify out into the other cryptos, but do it on a day when Bitcoin is high and the currency, the crypto that you want to move it into, is relatively low, especially following bad news. And with some of the other cryptos, the swings in market valuation for those coins are even wider than with Bitcoin. So you can take advantage of some short-term bad news. Say, for example, the Securities and Exchange Commission or the IRS says they're going to crack down on whatever currency. That crypto might plummet 50, 60, 70% in one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the day to buy in and diversify out of Bitcoin. In the long term, your portfolio of cryptos should be spread over at least 3 cryptocurrencies, preferably 4 or 5. And as a long-term hedge, I think that's the safe place to be.
It used to be you would only hear about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin on alternative news, here at InfoWars, yourself or Gerald Celente or other people's, blogs and stuff talking about Bitcoin. But now, for the first time I've ever seen, a day doesn't go by where some mainstream news network isn't talking about Bitcoin. Should you buy? Should you sell? What type of impact do you think now that it's entered the fold of mainstream news? What type of impact do you think that has on Bitcoin?
I think it's going to make things even more volatile. And in the long term, though, the number of people in the world who have access to a smartphone versus the number who have taken a hedge position in Bitcoin is minuscule. So I think in the long term, the cryptos are going to do fairly well. But there's a number of factors that could make any of them completely wiped out overnight.
All right, that's James Wesley Rawls, survivalblog.com. We talk some Bitcoin. In the next segment, we're going to talk some geopolitics. Owen Schroyer filling in for Alex today. My guest is James Wesley Rawls. We were just talking Bitcoin and precious metals. We're about to discuss some geopolitics, but first, he wanted to finish a couple key points on Bitcoin. Go ahead, James. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Owen. I just wanted to stress that there's a lot of risks with any of the Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies. We're in a situation where there's a kind of a rising tide of interest in the cryptos. And the old saying in the financial markets is a rising tide lifts all ships. And that will, I think, be true of the cryptocurrencies. But just keep in mind that there's a lot of risk there. Never have more than 5 or 10% of your net worth in cryptos. And that's even for someone who watches the market very closely. For anyone else, I wouldn't suggest more than 1 or 2% of their net worth. And keep in mind that we live in a society that's driven by envy. And as the cryptocurrencies take off, as I think they will, in the next couple of years, I think we're going to see a lot of hacker interest in the cryptos, because these are going to be people who feel like they missed out, and they're going to be envious, and they're going to want to steal from others. And they're mainly, I think, going to go after the crypto exchanges rather than the currencies themselves. But I think there will also be concerted attacks on individual accounts in attempts to recover passwords. So people should be very, very careful about the passwords they use, or passphrases they use, and where they keep those passphrases. It's also very important to keep redundant copies of your Bitcoin wallet, but keep very close track of where those are physically. And ideally, your laptop that you use for trading Bitcoin should be a spare laptop that you only connect to the internet very infrequently, just for Bitcoin trading. Otherwise, that machine, that device, is kept offline to minimize the vulnerability to hackers. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so that's the expert's take on Bitcoin, and make sure if you're going to invest, you do it wisely as to not put yourself in a hole should anything bad happen.